All right, good Wednesday evening, everyone. It's Eric Wilhelm here with a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks, our in-depth daily video that really takes a much deeper dive into the weather than I have time for on TV. No time restrictions on this video, so we can just talk about as much as we want. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't necessarily watch the entire thing sometimes, but that's fine. Sometimes these videos can get a little bit long. This one will be a little bit shorter, I think, than the last couple of days. You know, we can only talk about warmth for so long. 81 is what we did at the airport today. 84 in Cleveland, 81 in Pittsburgh, 84 was the high in New Philly this afternoon. Our forecast today was 82, so we fell just a degree shy of that. Obviously, compared to the average, this is way up there. Our average high on this date is 65, so a full 16 degrees warmer than that. All right, so we passed a threshold yesterday in terms of fall, you know, kind of milestones here. Our sunset was around 7 o'clock yesterday, and now our sunsets are before 7 o'clock from now until, you know, March. And we've got one more hurdle to cross here on my list of signs of fall. That is when standard time resumes on Sunday, November the 4th. All of a sudden, the sunset will be at like, it's like 20 after 5. Coming up a month from today. I'm not ready for that. I don't know about you. I'm not a fan of those early sunsets. It makes my work day seem much longer when it's dark halfway through my shift. That just makes the day seem that much longer. All right, boy, I'll tell you, this has been unimpressive on the radar today. These showers have really fizzled as they've come east. There's a little bit of dry air eating these up, but you know, just not much being squeezed out of the atmosphere today. We were hoping to get, you know, a tenth of an inch maybe worth of rain tonight. I just don't see it. Maybe a few hundredths should about do it. Here's our model for tonight showing the front sinking in, a couple of showers around into the late night hours. Now tomorrow I don't think is going to be a bright and sunny day, although there will be more sun the farther north you go. Up in northern Trumbull and northern Mercer counties, it may turn pretty bright for a time, midday and afternoon tomorrow, but the farther south you go, the closer to the boundary you are, and it could be, you know, generally kind of a cloudy looking day in places like Lisbon and East Liverpool and Elwood City and Newcastle, places like that. But I suspect we are dry during the daylight hours tomorrow. The showers may return then tomorrow night into Friday as this front starts wobbling back north. As this front continues lifting north, of course, the warm air is going to start coming north. We're going to be on the cool side of the front Friday. I've got 70. It's still warmer than average, but a cooler day nonetheless on Friday. Couple of showers around, but then the front is firmly to our north as we go into the day on Saturday, meaning it's off to the races temperature-wise. The record high Saturday is 87. I've got us falling 3 degrees shy of that at 84, a full 20 degrees warmer than average coming up on Saturday. Someone asked me on Twitter about a record maximum low temperatures. You know, one way of looking at a warm stretch of weather is what are the records for the warmest low temperature for the day. And over the weekend, our warmest low temperatures on record are in the mid-60s, and that's what our forecast is for the overnight lows Saturday night and into Sunday night as well. So we could have some very warm October nights as we go into the upcoming weekend. Now back here in the short term, again, the rain's not going to be much through Friday. You know, most of our modeling is a quarter of an inch or less, and certainly I believe those lower totals. The atmosphere just does not want to squeeze out moisture over the region right now. All right, Indians, games 1 and 2 of the ALDS at Progressive Field. Thursday evening, it's a 7:38 first pitch. It's at, I believe, 5:08 Friday evening for Game 2. Now for Game 1 on Thursday, I think there's a small chance of a couple of showers, particularly in the later innings, but I don't think it'll be enough to cause any sort of big delays or anything. I think they'll get the game in no problem. A little more concerned about Friday for Game 2. Now, thunder and lightning is not likely, heavy rain's not likely, but rain, generally speaking, is a little more likely for Game 2 Friday evening. So it's not going to be that cold, though. I mean, 60s and not much in the way of a breeze either night, so not much of a breeze blowing in or blowing out, so the breeze should not be too much of a factor. Mentioned those temperatures on Saturday. Now, this is just one model, and I think this is underdone on Saturday. It has us getting up to about 80. That would be warm enough, but I think we'll get a few bonus degrees out of this air mass coming up on Saturday. All right, down in the tropics. I showed you this last night. Last night, this was just what we call an invest area, an area that's being investigated for possible tropical development, but now it's a tropical depression and probably soon to be a tropical storm down in parts of the Caribbean. This guy's right here. and this will soon become Tropical Storm Nate. Right now, not particularly well organized, but again, it becomes a tropical storm. This will be real interesting to see what happens over the next several days. This will be a fast mover, already expected to make landfall by late in the weekend. That's only 4 days away, really, from making landfall in the U.S., and it's way down here right now. So this will be a quick mover. Right now, the official Hurricane Center forecast has it becoming a Cat 1 hurricane in the Gulf. There's definitely room, though, for this to be stronger than that. The water temperatures are bathtub quality through here, and the wind shear is not particularly impressive looking. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially if it does not interact with the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. If this stays over the open water and kind of splits the uprights here between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, I could see this becoming a major hurricane once it gets out into the Gulf. Whatever it is, it'll make landfall somewhere in the Gulf Coast region late in the weekend, and then it'll come north, and this will be a big rain producer for someone, some places, more than likely from the Appalachians on east. But that being said, some of the model solutions do bring a decent amount of rain into eastern Ohio, western PA from Nate during the first half of next week. The European model, and that's the purple line here, would suggest that between now and next Wednesday, we get up to 3 inches of rain, most of that from the remnants of Nate. The GFS is not as impressive looking, and so there's definitely a model war going on. No surprise. This thing is, poorly organized and isn't going to... The models aren't going to be a whole lot of help, I don't think, in the real near term as far as our weather next week. But the chance is there anyway, the chance that we get some drought-busting rain, some rain that's going to help us out, put some moisture back in the soil as we roll into the first half of next week. All right, in the meantime, warmth is what you got for the next 6 days. I think there will be a pattern change at the end of next week, but it's not going to be the kind of pattern change that is going to bring us unusually cold weather. It's only back to normal. Now, this time of the year, the averages are dropping fast. We lose a degree off our averages every few days here as we get into October. And so by the end of this 10-day period, our average high is 62. So even though, it's going to cool off significantly second half of next week, and I think highs will be around 60 to 64 for a few days, that's average for mid-October. It's just back to normal. So, we're having a hard time getting any sort of air mass in here that is unusually chilly. We just can't do it right now, and that seems to be the case here in October as well. So just back to a typical October air mass for a handful of days, end of next week. Until then, enjoy endless summer. Thanks for checking out tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you back here tomorrow evening, and have a great rest of your Wednesday night.